our mridanga player. Because that's the only time he comes in the morning. Yeah. So if we don't have him play mridanga, he won't attend Bhagavatam class.
Just
Warming up. We have actually many mridanga players. Yeah, actually everyone. You also know it. So one, two, three, four. My God, five mridanga players.
it's hard to find people who don't play guitar in Mayapur.
Huh?
It's hard to find someone who doesn't know how to play
It's
guitar.
hard to find someone who doesn't. Interesting. Okay. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Go to Pimananda. Dharma Shipad Paramahamsa Pri Vraj Gachaja Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shirabai Charan Naravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jaini Tagore Pimanande. All glorious to be assembled devotees, all glorious to be assembled devotees, all glorious to be assembled devotees. All glorious to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Takshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tirubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Granthara, as the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Hare Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda,
Sri Advaita
Sri
Gadadhara
Advaita Gadadhara,
Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Sarabhyaya
Om
Namaha
Sarvaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya
Om
Namaha
Sarvaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya
Om
Namaha
Sarvaya Namaha.
Mukham karoti vacharam pangom langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 5, entitled Narada's Instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we are reading text number 37. 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Namaha Sankarshanaya Cha Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Sankarshanaya Cha Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Sankarshanaya Cha Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Sankarshanaya Cha
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya
Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya
Namaha Sankarshanaya Cha
Nama Sankarshanaya Cha
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya
Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya
Namaha Sankarshanaya Cha
Nama Sankarshanaya Cha
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam
Vasudevaya Dhimahi
Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Sankarsanaya Cha. Om.
Om,
The sign of chanting
the sign of chanting,
the transcendental glory
the transcendental glory
of the Lord.
of the Lord.
Namaha.
Namaha,
Offering obeisances unto the Lord.
offering obeisances to the Lord.
Bhagavate. Unto the personality of Godhead.
Unto the personality of Godhead.
Tubhyam.
Yam,
Unto you.
unto you.
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya,
Unto the Lord.
unto the Lord.
The son of Vasudeva.
Son of Vasudeva,
Dhimahi.
Dhimahi.
Let us chant.
Let us chant.
Pradyumnaya. Aniruddhaya. And Sankarshanaya. All plenary expansions of Vasudeva. Namaha. Respectful obeisances. Cha. And. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation: Let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. Kindly repeat after me. Let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. Purport. According to Pancharatra, Narayana is the primeval cause of all expansions of Godhead. These are Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Vasudeva and Sankarshana are on the middle, left and right. Pradyumna is on the right of Sankarshana, and Aniruddha is on the left of Vasudeva, and thus the four deities are situated. They are known as the four aides-de-camp of Lord Sri Krishna. This is a Vedic hymn or mantra beginning with Omkara Pranava, and thus the mantra is established by the transcendental chanting process, namely Om Namo Dhimahi, etc. The purport is that any transaction, either in the field of fruitive work or in empiric philosophy, which is not ultimately aimed at the transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord, is considered to be useless. Naradaji has therefore explained the nature of unalloyed devotional service by his personal experience in the development of intimacy between the Lord and the living entity by a gradual process of progressive devotional activities. Such a progressive such a progressive march of transcendental devotion for the Lord culminates in the attainment of loving service to the Lord, which is called prema, in different transcendental variegatedness called rasas, or tastes. Such devotional service is also executed in mixed forms, namely mixed with fruitive work or empiric philosophical speculations. Now the question which was raised by the great rishis headed by Shonaka regarding the confidential part of Suta's achievement through the spiritual master is explained herein by the chanting of this hymn consisting of 33 letters. And this mantra is addressed to the four deities, or the Lord with his plenary expansions. The central figure is Lord Sri Krishna, because the plenary portions are his aide de camp. The most confidential part of the instruction is that one should always chant and remember the glories of the Lord, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his different plenary portions expanded as Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These expansions are the original deities of all other truths, namely either Vishnu Tattva or Shakti Tattvas. Translation again, let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. We get a little glimpse in this text and the purport given by Srila Prabhupada of the what is it, the word? It's connected with the theology behind what we follow in terms of Krishna philosophy. The common understanding, most people in India, is that Narayana is actually the Supreme Lord, and from him, of course, this is also mentioned here in the purport, all expansions come from Narayana. However, what is very unique in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, and this was especially brought out by the Goswamis of Vrindavan, especially by Srila Jiva Goswami, by all of them, of course, because they received this revelation from Srila, from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. But it is already there, of course, in the pages of the Bhagavatam, that the subject matter of tattva, which is being referred to here, is a very deep subject matter that in many ways is also very confidential, because as explained here in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, these four expansions referred to here, they are described as Edaka. I don't know what the English translation from Edaka. Edaka generally means they are assistants. Edaka. In Sanskrit,
This word is Sanskrit word,
Edaka is a French.
Oh, French.
It's French actually. Yeah, Ed means assistant. Daka, like group. Aide de camp. It's an expression that you find in military language. Aide de camp. Just like this is what is studied also when one takes up what is called Dhanurveda. That's definitely explained in Dhanurveda. Just like during the battle of, now we're going to Mahabharata. In the war of Mahabharata, there was, of course, the main, the leader was Yudhishthira Maharaj. And we could say his four aides de camp, his four main assistants were the four Pandavas, Bhim, Arjuna, Nakula Sahadev. So, and that's a nice example actually in military language, especially Vedic military language. Um, we hear about phalanxes. You know, phalanx is so many infantry, so many elephants, so many this and that. Is all very scientific. And what was especially studied very meticulously, now I forget the Sanskrit term, but
Vyuha.
yes,
Vyuha.
vyuha, eh?
Vyuha.
Vyuha.
Vyuham Drupada Putrena Tamasisena Dhimata Vyuha.
So Arjuna had studied this very carefully, eh? And uh, he was telling this to his wife, who at that time was carrying Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu was within the womb was listening, but uh, but she fell asleep, and so that's why he could not. He only knew how to enter. He didn't know how to come out. And the whole story.
Chakra Vyuha.
Chakra
Chakra
Vyuha.
Special chakra view.
Yeah,
That was Chakra Vyuha.
very very intricate. Very intricate. So it's like what Krishna does, just like this whole material cosmic manifestation, is very very intricate. I mean, scientists are still bewildered, not understanding. We are we only know about our tiny little planet. It's like a spark.
Also, we don't know.
And even that we don't know. What to speak of so many other planets in this universe, which is the smallest of all the universes, right? So the very unique feature of our sampradaya, Gaudiya Vaishnava sampradaya, that's different from other Vaishnava sampradayas. What to speak of non-Vaishnava sampradayas, because the majority of transcendentalists, they are not they're not even personalists, right? Yeah. So in other words, our sampradaya is very unique in upholding, in demonstrating, and this is nicely, of course, explained in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami very firmly establishes, number one, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all sources. Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam prabhardati iti madhva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samanditaha. Yesterday I was giving a class actually in the temple, and the verse was in connection with the whole discussion between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. And it was mentioning just a few verses before the verse I presented that Maitreya Rishi was beginning to give the explanation of the Chatur Sloki. So that's very interesting because actually there's, in the Bhagavatam there's Chatur Sloki. The original spoken verses actually by Krishna at the beginning of the creation to Lord Brahma. And we also have Chatur Sloki in the Bhagavad Gita. So Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, yeah. So in the first of the four Chatur Sloki in the Bhagavatam, it begins with Aham. And also the first of the four in the Bhagavad Gita begins with Aham. And Aham, if you don't speculate on it, it means I. But as Prabhupada would point out, most people who translate the Bhagavad Gita, they say when Krishna says I, he doesn't really mean I. He's speaking, but he's not really speaking.
So have no personal I
Yeah,
behind this
right.
Krishna's
right. So, so you know, I remember when I first received a copy of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, because I had read some previous version, and I mean, I found it interesting, of course, but the the obvious difference to me was like a very big difference. And at the beginning, I was a little doubtful. I was a little skeptical. The big difference I found when I started reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita was that at every page and practically every paragraph, Krishna, Krishna, the Supreme Person. You know, Prabhupada again and again is establishing and reminding us that Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, because it's all, the references are all there in the Shastra, you know. Vedanti tat tattvavidam tattvamyas yanam advayam brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavaniti sabjate. So Sridham Jiva Goswami has selected, has, you know, built his, what is it,
Foundation.
Siddhanta, yeah, on these very select verses that are there in the Bhagavatam, that are there in the Bhagavad Gita. So in terms of, you know, philosophy, the Vaishnava philosophy, Vaishnava Siddhanta, Vaishnava Tattva is very strong. I mean, you cannot, naturally, from our point of view, you cannot defeat it. Otherwise, so that is, of course, mentioned in so many places how unless we come to that understanding of that, you know, supreme personality form of Krishna, then we cannot develop bhakti. We cannot develop bhakti in its highest expression, isn't it? So therefore, there's reference here of rasa, and that is one of the 10 tattvas. Krishna in the Dasamula Tattva of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there are 3 tattvas that describe or identify Krishna. The first one is Param Tattva. Param Tattva, where it establishes this difference between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan realization. And then there is this Krishna, he is Rasa Samudra. Rasa Samudra. He is the origin. He is the ocean of all taste, emotions, like that. Yes. And then he is also Shaktiman. He is the origin of all Shakti. Uh, Antaranga Shakti, internal energy. Bahir Anga Shakti, this material nature. And then Tatastha Shakti, the living entities. So, in other words, actually, when I first started to read, I'm sure everyone who reads the Sat Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami is so tuk, 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 you know, so logical, so methodical, precise, so clear, you know, so clear. It doesn't have to, you know, when you read other books, Mayavadis especially, they just, you know,
There's no systematic.
they go on and on, and it's not clear. It's not clear. Uh, so uh, that is one of the special features of our Vaishnava philosophy, as nicely presented, of course, in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Everything is very clearly uh, explained and established, and everything is, you know, I mean, very, very intricate, very intricate. Like these 4-8 the count. You know, we know that the first expansion, that's a whole first expansion is Baladev. Then from Baladev comes this Sankarsan, this,
Chaturviha.
huh?
Chaturviha.
Yes. Um, and that comes twice. Then after Sankarsan, another 4 like that. It's a very it's understandable that it should be intricate because both the spiritual energy uh, and the material energy are um, very, by nature, very elaborate. So, um, hmm?
Complex, involved together.
Yes,
They are not separately working. They are
yes,
all
yeah. There's
symbiotic.
very
Synthetic. How did you say it?
synthesis,
Yeah.
synthesis. Yeah,
Synergic.
hmm?
Synergic.
Synergic. Yeah,
Synergic.
synthesis, synergic. Yeah, um, and that's why there is that constant. What is it? Um, mm, between science and religion. You know, so Prabhupada, of course, one of the objectives, especially that he wanted those devotees who are having this scientific background, like Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj and others, that they uh, that they bring these two together to to establish philosophically and based on Shastra that the two complement each other. And of course, that's connected with what we often try to explain. I was touching on this point a little bit yesterday in the class also, how we as devotees are primary, I mean, very important, uh, should be daily endeavor. That's what Narada Muni also points out in his discussion with Yudhishthira Maharaj. We should be endeavoring all the time to uh, deepen our understanding of dharma and tattva, and we should be endeavoring to mold our lives based on the principles of dharma and the principles of tattva. Smritam shat vidam rajan yena satma prasiditi. That is in the seventh canto, chapter 11, when Narada Muni begins his explanation to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the subject matter of dharma. Dharmamulam hi Bhagavan sarva vidamayo harihi smritam cha tadvidam rajan yena chatma prasidati. Only by constant endeavor, smriti, by trying to remember, by trying to understand, by trying to meditate
Memory.
on these subject matters, molding our lives in such a way, then yena chatma prasidati, all of our needs, material needs, emotional needs, social needs, spiritual needs, will be easily met. So that's why in the Bhagavatam we read for example, yesterday was Ramnami. So during the reign of Lord Ramachandra, everything was perfect because he was a perfect ruler. He was, I mean, being the supreme personality of God, he was ruling according to Dharma, naturally. And all the citizens we read, they were totally satisfied. There was no excessive heat, no excessive cold, and the rains would come in the evening. It was timely. There was no climate change. Everything was being done very uh, in harmony, isn't it? Uh, so, uh, so that is actually the outcome of what happens when we follow dharma, when we understand dharma. And obviously, the opposite is there, as we are seeing in modern day society, of course. And that's why it is a very troublesome, disturbing state of affairs, especially for devotees, isn't it? Devotees are meant to, they're accustomed to these different natural qualities that are meant to develop, as explained, of course, in um, by Narada Muni in the same chapter of the seventh canto. Um, In other words, devotees appreciate, are meant to appreciate. Uh, the more we appreciate, the more we are conscious of these qualities, beginning with satyam, dayata, pasocam, which, when not understood, when not followed, they are they are destroying society because they are promoting, allowing all the four major sinful activities to take place. So devotees, because they know about dharma, then they are naturally uh, endeavoring through their personal lives and personal example to follow and to demonstrate these principles of dharma. Um, Socham, which are meant to be lived and demonstrated by all the members of the system of Varnashrama. Like yesterday, day before, uh, yeah, day before yesterday, Ramnami was the day before yesterday. Uh, I was mentioning how this is nicely pointed out by Narada Muni that even those who are like uh, in Shudra position, they have also they're meant to develop, meant to have uh, not only one or two qualities as referred to in the Bhagavad Gita, but there are 8 or 9 qualities mentioned by Narada Muni, two of which are actually connected, directly connected with the 4 pillars of Dharma. A servant is meant to be having the quality of satyam, truthful. If you're going to have a servant at home he, and he's not truthful, what's yeah, right. Oh, and then the second quality, very important for a servant, is socham, cleanliness. You know, usually you get people, you hire people or you have a servant to keep the house clean, and if he's not,
He'll make it dirty.
then hey, get out here. Yeah, right. So, uh, so when we follow the good instructions and guidelines given in the Shastra, then the whole situation becomes very favorable. Prabhupada even mentions, like in householder life becomes very pleasant when both husband and wife follow dharma, you know, because they're not entangled with so many material things, etc., like that, and they see Shastra Chakshu, they understand everything through the eyes of Shastra. And that is only possible when we associate with Shastra, when we read, when we discuss, and try to understand the instructions and the meaning that is being presented here. Yeah. So, what time is it? Okay, yeah, 6:41. Any thoughts or questions on this verse?
Yeah, I'm remembering about Srila Prabhupada is like was saying that he's looking for a
Looking for a king.
so that everything can be in place.
Yes, yes,
Then he wrote to Mahatma Gandhi, and then he wrote to uh, Nehru also.
yes.
And he was saying he is actually looking for a dictator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Saying dictator is good
Right.
if he is a Krishna conscious. And
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
saying like different
yeah, yeah.
examples of different kings who ruled the whole world.
Correct.
They were all dictators.
The Bhagavatam is full of kings.
Yeah.
Is full of such ideal. Yeah. Generally, people are afraid of the word dictator. Uh, but a dictator is someone who is very strict in following certain principles. He you know, he dictates according to the
Not cooperator, but dictator.
a dictator is different from someone
Yeah.
who is appointed.
He's thinking, I know better. You should do. I say that's dictator.
Yes. uh, Actually, Prabhupada speaks about dictator in the
Yeah, because they are better than these
yeah
democracies.
right
That's sure, but still, it's not not the best.
yes
He made a difference like the dictator, if he is Krishna conscious, if he is a pure devotee, then he is actually real dictator.
Because they are listening also someone.
yeah. His point is that generally
Generally, yeah.
dictators they don't want to hear from
Yeah,
anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
that's the words.
Yeah, yeah. That means
Yeah,
Essence.
dictator actually.
I am the all in all.
Yeah.
I am God.
Yeah,
This everyone should just
yeah.
listen to me and be
And
happy.
Prabhupada gave that specific that dictator should be the Krishna conscious, a pure devotee.
Then they're not dictator. They
Yeah,
are
yeah, but
leader.
right, but what word you will say to the people? Otherwise, people cannot understand a conception about a Rajarshi or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, the example of Lord Ramachandra, he was that ideal person, but he wanted to hear from the citizens,
Yeah.
and he got dressed as an ordinary citizen to find out what's going on. Yeah,
He was praying to the ocean, to the Sagar, to give him way. He can order.
yeah,
But
right.
he was praying, and then when he was not hearing, then he showed him.
Great. So uh, we, as a society, and that was very much Srila Prabhupada's desire, we are meant to give the opportunity. We're meant to actually train individuals to become qualified leaders. The three natural, who are the three natural leaders in society? There are three natural leaders in society. Huh? Yes. Kshatriyas are definitely leaders. Yes. You're halfway there. No, three quarters of the way there. 2/3 of the way there. Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Vaishya are also leaders.
Now the Vaishyas are, even they are not Vaishyas.
Yeah. Vaishya is leader because he can, of course, he needs assistance, but he can do things by himself, and he can do more things when he has good
Yeah, they're
servants.
leaders in the sense of leader in the economic field.
Actually, because a Vaishya, he is one of the three Dvijas. He's Dvija.
Yeah.
So Dvija means he is not only knowing about economics, he knows about dharma as well.
Otherwise, he would not follow the dharmic instructions.
Correct. Yes.
You have
So so see, this is something we don't think about, I would say, sufficiently, that there are basically two kinds of people. In the world, there's basically these two kinds of people. Those who by nature are leaders. And the other, of course, is those who are by nature followers.
yeah,
So it's a question of, having the right leaders, those who have that nature, that ability, not false leaders, and then being qualified as a natural leader, and then also being qualified as a natural follower.
Yeah,
otherwise they have no
qualification.
college.
Right, then, yeah. I mean, you might have the best leader, but if he doesn't have qualified followers, it's not going to work.
It's not a leader.
Yeah. Well, he's a leader, but if he doesn't have, yeah.
Or no one is following that
Mm.
leader.
So, in in that sense, everyone, whether one is a leader or a follower, it's the same thing like for teacher and student, or guru and disciple. Unless the guru is qualified, and unless the disciple is qualified, unless the teacher is qualified, same thing Prabhupada gives the example of, unless the husband is potent and the wife is also potent, then only you will get progeny. Yeah. In our modern day society, there is no qualification in terms of leadership and no qualifications in terms of followers. Yeah, we're lacking in both, and therefore it's a chaotic condition. So, in other words, our business as devotees and as an institution is to train individuals, who will become ideal leaders or ideal followers. Both, because both are needed. And in any society, only a small percentage of the population will be ideal leaders. Isn't it? Ideal leaders means ideal Brahmana, ideal Kshatriya, and Vaishya.
Yeah.
Of course, on the transcendental level, everyone is being trained to be a devotee. And in many ways,
They are also leaders
yeah, devotees are leaders. Yes,
in the transcendental.
correct.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
I found one very interesting thing.
Uh,
The problems are always in the leader class, because the class it's other that I am the big leader.
ah,
So I found why it is, because there is a proper order of the leaders also. Just like the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are leaders.
yes,
But the Vaishyas are meant to be the servant of the Kshatriyas.
yes,
And even the whole Kshatriya is meant to be servant of the Brahmanas.
yes,
And even now is coming, the Brahmanas are supposed to be actually the servant of the Vaishnavacharya.
yes,
Then only the whole orders actually can be established.
yes,
So I found that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said Daiva Varnashram is a system actually followed by the orders of Vaishnavacharyas. I found that statement.
Okay.
That was very enlightening.
okay. Vaishnavas are meant to follow the uh, teachings or the directions of the Vaishnavacharyas, yeah, who are specializing in following what is in Shastra, what is given by Krishna. And also, we read in the Bhagavatam how Vaishnavas in leadership position are meant to be the ideal, the exemplary servants. There's that's in the Bhagavatam. What's the expression? Uh, there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as like Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is to be served, and then the Vaishnavas or the spiritual master, he's meant to be the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. Servitor Godhead. Yeah. In other words, those who are in leadership position, they're meant to be exemplary servants. They're serving society. Brahmanas are serving society by providing knowledge. Kshatriyas are serving society by protecting the society. Vaishyas are serving society by providing produce, food, etc. like that. Yeah. Yes.
this verse is very intricate, very special.
Yes. Yes.
It is with the next verse looks like summarizing the vision for Vyasadeva, how to create a new type of scripture which is not existing at the present state.
Mm.
And that is the main essential point of their conversation. So many other things we can learn, but that is how to provide such a scripture which can guide all the other scriptures
Mm.
to understand all the other scriptures.
Yes.
And here is the essential vision,
Right.
and the next is explaining that why we should this kind of complex vision keep like, and inside this verse there is two very um, divisions. The first two line and the second, third, and fourth line.
Mm.
It looks like really
Yeah.
reasonable. I don't want to go into because we have
Yeah.
not so much, but that would be the duty of someone studying this part of Bhagavatam to go
Deeper.
deep into the chapter and understand all these details, and then by that experience or realized vision can go further to the Bhagavatam.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the Bhagavatam would be not the spotless, the leader Bhagavatam, the leader Purana.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's I think that's why the demo is in the second line's end,
Hmm.
and the
Yes.
others. This very very important is,
Yes.
and Prabhupada started to explain it, but also it's limited how much he could say, but it's really really.
Yeah. 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 It is. It's a.
And how he gives the translation, for example, for the Om.
Right.
That's we see that Prabhupada has special understanding of this Om. Others will say, oh, that is the Omkara,
Right.
like some kind of beginning, but he gives a very special understanding. This is the sign of chanting the transcendental glories of the Lord.
Right.
It is the essence of saying that word Om.
Yes. Yes.
Not technical details, not other. I have other functions, but that is the main point. Okay, now we glorify.
Right. Yes. Mm. Most people, when they read Om or think of Om, they think of impersonal.
Yeah, it's not. It's
But yeah,
glorification of the Supreme Person.
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Maharaj, I wanted to ask you that the Vedanta Sutra is the, how to say, the peak. This brings together all the understanding of the Vedic scriptures.
Yes.
And then the natural explanation and natural comment for that is the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Mm.
And generally we see that this, when there are scriptures, Shruti scriptures and Smriti scriptures, but if they have some sentence which is not clear by itself, then we need to have a clarification. That's generally the Bhagavatam does, or the Puranas does. So there are other Puranas have special um, function for explaining other part of the Vedas, like the Bhagavatam explains the Vedanta Sutra, this Bhagavatam, and then others explaining other difficult to understand part of the Vedas. Do you know that?
I was hearing once a very elaborate presentation by one devotee on what is called Vedic. Normally, we know about Vedic cosmology. This one devotee, by citing various other Puranas, where there's a lot more information, he made a whole presentation on what is called Vedic geography. Very interesting. In other words, there are, yeah, this particular Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavat Purana, is focused on the essence, which is bhakti, of course. Other Puranas, I don't know the details, but other Puranas emphasize other aspects, like this science of geography. And this particular devotee, who's from Australia, actually, disciple of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, I forget his name, but I listened to some of the presentations he made, like PowerPoints, and which have been recorded. I can dig it up and find out. But it's the kind of things that we can introduce here in our college, in our Varnashram college. Um, so yeah, there's all
This whole perspective of seeing from the
there's
truth.
so much knowledge and information there in our different shastras, and then these are the type of things we can uncover as we spend time, but so few of our devotees are spending time. One of the, for example, we were discussing how with the second floor here, we're going to have a big area where we can actually have our library there, because you need a fair amount of space and whatnot. So having a library and having people who value libraries, unless you have people who like to read books, like to study and have the time and whatnot, are not diverted by other things, then we get into all kinds of
Yeah, otherwise it's not.
right. I mean, like the Goswamis in Vrindavan. I mean,
Nana
we
Sastra
cannot
Vicharane.
falsely, imitate, but we should learn to follow in their footsteps. They were spending hours and hours, and because they were spending so much time, they had so many things to discuss and exchange,
And
and
it became double.
yeah, I mean, and their Bhagavatam classes were not just 1 hour.
Yeah. Like there is no limit.
Yeah, right. I mean, they would forget about eating, everything.
Mangala He start the Mangala and then again Bhagavatam.
Right.
There's no limit. Because no one wants to go away.
Yeah.
Everyone has to contribute more and more.
Right. Yeah. That's what, down the line we'll begin to understand that, our Varnashram college is successful when the students, forget about going for prasadam.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's why this is only possible when we simplify the whole Vedic culture, teaching to simplify our lives, so that we just learn to be happy with basic what we need, and then focus on what is. Yeah. So gradually, that will come. That's part of what we are endeavoring to do. But we're not at this stage, so we have to.
We have.
Yeah, right.
You can have a solar system showing which is the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Yeah.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Jai. Hare Krishna.